News have broken out that Russell Westbrook announced his retirement from the NBA. Why does it hit different? What's up, YouTube? Hey man, say man, back at it again for more content. So this offseason might go down as one of the craziest the league has ever seen because we have seen the Kawhi situation, the Giannis trade, the LeBron signing, the Jaylen Brown trade, and out of nowhere, Russell Westbrook decided to hang up the shoes and call it a career. And I will make a separate video on that offseason either this week or the next week, so stay tuned on that. But on the note of Russ, this dude, since he got traded out of OKC, he's pretty much been a journeyman for the last 7 years. Sure, he had two more star caliber seasons, particularly from Houston and Washington. But outside of that, his career went down the drain when he got picked up by the Lakers in the 21 offseason, and it was a total disaster. And that point on, the league knew that he was no longer a star in the league anymore. From there, he got traded to Utah before getting bought out and then signed with the Clippers on a bargain deal where he did rebrand himself as a competent role player for the Clippers, especially against the Suns in the first round, and he'll make his way to Denver, where he had a brief stint there, where he helped push his old team OKC to 7 games, the same team that will eventually win the whole thing, and then with the Kings. After his stint with the Kings, there is no team that is willing to sign this dude outside from the Kings and a team at Tel Aviv. Literally, he's dealt with two options where he was going to waste the rest of his career with a team that has been in the bottom of the barrel for almost all their existence and a team overseas. With these options, he was essentially forced to retire. And honestly, I don't blame the guy. I mean, who will spend the rest of their career in Sacramento or at Tel Aviv overseas? Even when you're a Hall of Famer, unless you really love the game of basketball. It is so sad that Russell Westbrook's career has to end like this. But something like this was bound to happen because his own inadequacies as a player has led him to the position where he was forced to retire in the saddest way possible. So in this video, I'm finna delve into how did it led to the outcome of Russell Westbrook deciding to retire for good. But before I continue, make sure y'all subscribe. I post NBA content, turn on post notifications so you don't miss anything new from me. Anyways, stay tuned and enjoy the video. Alright, so I'm not going to delve a whole lot on Westbrook coming up to the league and delve straight into his prime and the moments in his career that led his career towards a downward spiral. So Russell Westbrook was not only a consistent top 3 point guard in the league from 2012 all the way to 2019, but he was at one point a top 10 player in the league respectively. The dude was widely considered to not only be the most athletic player in the league outside of LeBron James, but he was the most athletic point guard in NBA history, especially from 2014 to 2019. Everyone knows that Westbrook played alongside another all-time great in Kevin Durant, and they both made 4 conference finals appearances and made a finals appearance in 2012, which is very impressive given how tough the West was back then. And during that time, he was a consensus All-NBA player, earning 5 straight All-NBA first and second team honors, and had 2 scoring titles from 2015 and 2017, along with having 3 straight seasons of averaging a triple-double. Westbrook, by far, is one of the most statistically dominant point guards of all time, especially what he did at his peak in 2017, in which I've been very critical about. If you know me personally, he became the first player since Oscar Robertson to average a triple-double with averages of 32 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists, while shooting 43% from the field, 34% from 3, and 85% from the free throw line. He will break Oscar Robertson's record for the most triple-doubles in a single season in NBA history. Not only he will make first-team All-NBA, but he will be the recipient for the MVP. Despite all the good in his career, there are lows in his career. In fact, very big lows for his career that led to his eventual demise, where he was forced to retire. Russell Westbrook, for the majority of his career, is one of the dumbest basketball players in league history, IQ-wise. And it got to the point where I would rather have a role player like a Jeff Teague closing out for me in crucial minutes of a playoff game. Russell Westbrook is one of the most polarizing superstars the league has seen. The exact same traits that makes him a force of nature, which is the speed, the athleticism, the total self-belief, and sheer volume, were also the fatal flaws that capped his ceiling in playoff basketball. In the playoffs, where defenses game plan specific coverages over a 7-game series, Westbrook's scoring efficiency has plummeted. In the playoffs, he shot just 41% from the field and under 30% from three across his playoff career. That is horrendous. His playoff true shooting percentage routinely hovered in the high 40s to low 50s, which is well below league average for high usage players. Defenses willingly dropped their big man into the paint, sacked 6 feet off Russ at the 3-point line, and practically begged him to take pull-up jump shots. And he took the bait over and over and over again, and he consistently hurts the teams that he's been on throughout his career. Also, he has some of the highest turnover rates in history, finishing with over 4,600 career regular season turnovers and regularly averaging 4 to 5 turnovers per game. Every time in clutch four corners, his erratic passes, charges into packed lanes, and rush jumpers frequently derailed his team's late game possessions. In today's league, even when you are a star, that is a winner, you need to space the floor, cut, and relocate when someone else has the ball. Oftentimes, Russell Westbrook is stood flat-footed above the break if he wasn't running the set because he is such a bad shooter from behind the arc. He shrinks the spacing on the team as a point guard in today's league. That is a big no-no. Looking at his OKC time there, everyone deep down knows that you can't win with Russell Westbrook on the team, and Magic said it best in a pregame to Game 3 of the 2012 Finals, where he explicitly said that he was the worst point guard in a championship team he has ever seen. Now, Westbrook will respond by pouring in 43 in Game 4, but that statement has lingered rather than true for the rest of Westbrook's career because eventually KD will have to leave Russ behind in OKC because he knows that he can't play with a guy who is ball dominant, who has a low IQ, can't shoot, and is a detriment to the team during crucial four quarters. Even though KD's decision ruined his legacy, but him leaving Russ was the best decision he has made in his career because since then, the dude never made it past the first round in the last 3 seasons with OKC, even with Paul George on the team and Carmelo Anthony. And in fact, across his career, Westbrook never won a single playoff series as the primary undisputed number 1 option on the team. Hell, in 2018 in the first round, the dude was getting outplayed by a rookie Donovan Mitchell and Ricky Rubio. And that is the same year in 2018 where Westbrook had Paul George and Carmelo Anthony on the roster. To give you a glimpse of how much of a bonehead Westbrook was that series, Russ committed 3 fouls in the first 14 minutes, picked up a technical, picked up his 4th foul before halftime, and finished as almost as many fouls and turnovers than made field goals, as Utah blew OKC by 17. And then he gets pummeled by Dame Lillard the very next year while shooting below 40% from the field and shooting from the 20s from behind the arc, and averages 5 turnovers per game. That series was a straw that broke the camel's back. Sam Presti knew that Russell Westbrook is not good enough to be a first option nor second option on a championship team, and a change was needed to propel the team forward. So Presti decided to deal Westbrook to the Rockets, and from there, his career went downhill from that point on. The qualities that made him an MVP, needing 100% control of the ball, high usage decision making, and relying on explosive bursts, collided directly with aging legs, modern shooting analytics, and mismatched roster fits. Out there in Houston, pairing Russ with James Harden created an immediate spacing dilemma. Houston had to trade away Clint Capella to play extreme 5-out micro ball just to clear the paint for Westbrook to drive without shooting threes. Although he had a strong regular season, but after suffering a quad strain and contrasting COVID-19 right before the Orlando bubble, he fell apart in the playoffs. In the second round against the Lakers, LA completely ignored him on the perimeter, blitzed Harden, and cruised past Houston in 5 games. Westbrook demanded a trade immediately after the season. Eventually got a deal to Washington where he has the ball back in his hands. He carried Washington on a late season tear, broken Oscar Robertson's all-time triple-double record, averaged a triple-double again, and dragged them to the 8th seed via the play-in tournament. And by the way, it was the last time a team gave him total offensive autonomy. In the first round, the top seeded Sixers, he got gentleman swept. And this boasts the reality that high volume triple doubles on a 8th seed no longer translated to true playoff contention. Then his career took a turn to the worst, where they traded both KCP and Kyle Kuzma, both guys who were instrumental in the Lakers bubble championship run, for Russell Westbrook. And what's worse is that in order for the Lakers to take on his $44 million salary, they let Alex Caruso walk in free agency and gutted their defensive depth and floor spacing. With both Bron and AD playing alongside Russ, it was a disaster from the get-go. Putting a non-spacer who needed the ball in his hands alongside LeBron and an interior-oriented AD shrank the floor completely. Not only Westbrook was so much of a liability as a spacer and an off-ball player, but he routinely fell asleep off-ball, blew backdoor assignments, and gambled for rebounds. And by the next calendar year, Frank Vogel, who was Lakers head coach during the time, reached his breaking point and benched Westbrook during the final 4 minutes of a fourth quarter against Indiana. Playing in his hometown of Los Angeles under the brightest media spotlights turned vicious. I mean, very vicious, y'all, to the point where fans both online and inside, the arena took to booing him and chanting Westbrook, Westbrook, Westbrook. And his family spoke publicly about the name calling, sending it across the line and affected his children. And eventually the Lakers would not make the playoffs. And the very next year, the Lakers got Darvin Ham, and he has Westbrook coming off from the bench as a sixth man. Westbrook had the ball back in his hands against second units and showed flashes of his old playmaking juice. But when the games came down to the final 5 minutes, defenses still ignored him. Late game turnovers persisted, and leaving him on the floor in crunch time created spacing nightmares for LeBron and AD. And it got to a point where he started to have tensions with the coaching staff and teammates. And after that, the Lakers gave him the boot by trading him to Utah in a 3-team deal, and Utah bought out his remainder of his massive contract that he signed back in 2017 when he won MVP. Since then, no team was willing to offer him a multi-year lucrative deal or hand him the keys to their offense. Eventually, he would get picked up by the Clippers on a bargain deal when Paul George and Kawhi Leonard went down. In the 23 playoffs against Phoenix, Westbrook turned back the clock for a few games, attacking the rim with full vintage aggression, and that playoffs helped him build his value back up. When James Harden arrived in the following year, Westbrook volunteered to come off the bench to stop the starting lineup from stagnating. However, the playoffs once again exposed his flaws. In the first round against Dallas, he shot just 26% from the field, and defense completely dared him to shoot from deep. The Clippers moved on from that summer after his putrid playoff performance. Then come Denver, where he was picked up to be a veteran presence and also provide energy, rim, and defensive pressure. Come playoff time, elite opponents like OKC in the second round simply cross-matched a center onto him and ignored him at the arc. And tight postseason crunch time possessions, Denver just could not afford to keep a sub 30% three-point shooter on the floor, spacing the lane for Jokic. And after that season, he will sign with the Kings, where he'll put up just empty stats, and after that, he called it a career. So now his career is done. We have to be 1,000% about his career and how his career ended in a very drastic, sad note. And because his game was built for the regular season, but not in the playoffs, he could overwhelm average teams on a Tuesday night with raw speed, athleticism, and high usage. But in the playoffs, elite teams packed the paint, dared him to shoot from outside, and watched his scoring efficiency drop to 41% from the field. Also, he never evolved his game. As his athleticism declined, he never developed a reliable three-point shot, a consistent mid-range floater, or off-ball cutting habits. Where he didn't have the ball in his hands, he stood at the very top of the key, wrecking his team's offensive spacing. And add the cherry on top, the triple-doubles that he put up was actually more of a detriment to his career than him trying to not only evolve his game, but also in a way where it can contribute towards winning basketball. He consistently stat pads for 10 rebounds and 10 assists led to hunting ball score stats, losing defensive matchups, and piling up reckless turnovers in fourth quarters. And eventually teams knew that it's not conducive towards winning games. And that's a reason why he never won a playoff series as a number one option. Never. Russell Westbrook's career is that of an all-time individual force who raised regular season floors but capped postseason ceilings. His athleticism, his 2017 MVP award, and his record of 209 triple-doubles makes him an undeniable first-ballot Hall of Famer. Yet his inability to shoot efficiently, limit turnovers, or play without the ball meant his style never translated into championships, leaving him remembered as one of the most explosive, statistically dominant, and polarizing solo engines the NBA has ever seen, but also one of the worst superstars ever in regards to his postseason career. For those of you watching, you might see Russell Westbrook as a top 10 point guard of all time, all due to the fact that he has been statistically dominant and the most athletic point guard we've ever seen. But his postseason career, especially him never winning a playoff series and how he aged out of the league, is what is preventing him from being viewed as a Mount Rushmore all-time great, despite being a first ballot Hall of Famer. And that's the end of the video, y'all. I want to ask all of you, did Russell Westbrook end his career on a sour note? Let me know in the comment section below. And be sure to subscribe to the channel for more content in the future. I'm going to try to be more consistent with my videos going forward. So turn on post notifications especially, so that way you don't miss anything new from me. And that's pretty much it, y'all. Stay litty. This is your boy A-Man, signing out.